Welcome to Om Times TV, a division of Om Times Media and Broadcasting. Welcome to Ascending with Venus Castleberg, a space where we explore the journey of spiritual awakening, expanding your consciousness and raising your frequency to create a whole new world. We'll dive into the possibilities that open up when you choose to follow the whispers and trust your inner knowing. Each episode is designed to guide you in expanding your awareness, tuning into your intuition, and discovering the magic of your life every day. We'll talk about living aligned with your soul's purpose, going beyond limitations and creating a life and a world worth celebrating. You are here to embrace who you truly are and step into the infinite potential that's waiting for you. Let's ascend together. And now, here is your host, Venus Castleberg.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Yes, we are here. So, unfortunately today, or fortunately, however it works, I am not going to be able to be live with you, but I am here with a very special guest today, and we are going to talk today about letting go of the ego, stepping into your true self. Sometimes with life, right, we tend to look at everything as a competition or a separation or a way of how am I unique? How do I stand out? Now, I'm going to say this right off the bat. I think it's really important that you know that you are unique, that you are special, but not from the space of I'm better than or I'm higher than. So just a little story about me. When I first became a clairvoyant medium and started to see the spirit realm, when I had my spiritual awakening, I was able to see Yeshua, also known as Jesus, depending on who you're talking to. And when I was talking to Jesus, when he first came to me, I immediately went into that I'm not worthy, felt like I needed to kneel down, because that was how I was raised, with religion. And he was very adamant about grabbing my hand and standing me up and saying, I'm not higher than you. I'm not better than you. We are the same. And I think that was such a freeing experience for me, because I had always put so many beings above me and made people and beings better than me. Right? Instead of saying we're all equal. But that need to be so different or to be better than or to be higher than often comes from the ego. It comes from the need to be separate, to feel like we're extra special. But I think if we get into the ego, we lose the specialness. The ego kind of creates this separation from realizing you are already special, but we just don't have to be better than. There's no competition between you and me. I don't have to be higher than you or superior to you. I don't have to prove that I'm more valuable than you. And all of those things are ego, right? So I just wanted to start with that, because I know we are often taught we're supposed to be unique, we're supposed to be different, we're supposed to be, but it's been perverted and twisted over time, because it's now become, I'm so unique, I'm different than you, I'm separate from you, instead of how do we bring unification to all of us and really step into our true selves. And our true selves, you are source, you are God, you are the divine incarnate in a physical body. And that doesn't have to be something that you are and I'm not. We are all that. And we all have gifts and capacities, and we all are very special. But it's not from the I have to be that individual so much, right? So individuals can often just be that space of like, okay, I'm so much of an individual. I'm now an introvert, or I'm now like causing this separation between me and other people instead of seeing everybody as one. And this is kind of our core message in ascending in general is how do we experience that oneness and still realize how important our unique tapestry is. So think of it this way. We are all colors, right? And we're all making up this beautiful painting called life. And there's greens and there's blues and there's grays and there's blacks and there's whites and there's browns, right? There's all the colors that are needed to create this beautiful painting. And so you are unique in that you are your own color, but then you are not separate because we are all needed or required to create the tapestry or the painting, right? All contributing our own unique flavor, but all part of the same image, if you will. So just wanted to start there today, and Amara just was kind enough to jump on with me and ask me some questions. Maybe she might have some questions about ego or stepping into your true self. What would you like to know, Amara?
Well, over the years of personal growth, I've noticed that ego is a whole different display of, like you said, separation. So where does ego show up? In judgment, upset, incessant thought, making ourselves better than?
Right.
Those are some of the things that, I've had to learn over the years. But what's your thought on identifying ego in a way that's different than how we're meant to be in a spiritual sense, our true self sense?
Awesome. Thank you for the question. So I actually need to clarify something that's happening right now. So I am now channeling the collective. And Amara, you're talking to the collective. So just, yeah. So if you could now, I wanted to just let people know who were listening. If you could say the question again.
Sure. Basically, how does ego show up for us in our day-to-day lives? What kind of, is it in judgment? Is it in upset and intrigue? Is it the trauma drama of our life versus how we are as a whole being?
This is a great question. So it's very important that you realize that you are already all one, right? And so anytime you do anything, such as judgment, great example, there is a separation between you and that person because you are judging them as doing something that is separate from you. But if you were to look at everybody as you, your reaction to them would be different, right? Because you wouldn't be necessarily and let's say we all know you judge yourselves too, but that's a subject for another day. But to have this judgment or this point of view or this idea that somebody should show up differently is really just you thinking that you need to show up differently. And then when you don't have those points of view about yourself, then you don't have those points of view about others. There is no separation in your birth and the oneness that you come into. It's separation is learned. Separation is go be unique, go be separate. Venus knows this very well. Venus actually is very tall and has a very unique name. And so she has been an outcast and very different her whole life. So for her, it's definitely like learning that she was never separate, even though she had all these signs or all these symbols that said she was separate. But they were just constantly showing her, okay, this is not, you do not have to be separate here. You can just be in the oneness. If you're in the oneness, people's points of view, one, you won't actually even hear them or see them. They won't matter. They will be irrelevant. They only stick you because you believe them to be true. You buy them as real and true.
All right. Wow. So essentially, how do we, it seems like the ego gets pretty tarnished in some of our programming in early life. So what's a unique way or a good way to identify or heal the parts of ourselves that lets ego be in charge? Put it that way.
Well, if you would not believe that you could be injured, right?
Okay.
Again, the belief that you can be hurt. If you're all one, you can't actually be hurt, right? It's like, but the hurt and the anger, the sadness, all of those things are emotions that you use to be like, nobody gets me, nobody understands me. And again, just creating separation. We were in conversation with somebody last week, and they were talking about how they wanted to maintain their own autonomy, to be separate, because angel, at one point they had made angels and spirit guides and everything more powerful than them. What they forgot to see was that angels and spirit guides are already them. Like they are not separate. But when you get into like somehow something or someone is better or bigger or more powerful than you, then you put them on a pedestal, and suddenly they are not the same. They are not on the same level. They are up here. So when you put somebody up here, you are the one that has realized or made believe that you're down here, instead of you are the same. And if they're up here, then you are up here. If you are up here, they are up here, right? There is no lower and higher. There are just different frequencies, different energies, but different energies is not higher than or lower than, just different.
Okay. So if we're in a space where we don't love ourselves, then judgment creeps in. And so the foundation is really about loving ourselves so we can love others. Is that correct?
Well, yes, loving yourself is paramount, especially since everyone is you.
Exactly.
So if you're loving yourself, you are loving everyone else, right?
Right.
Yes, it's that, again, that not that like I am here and I have to love myself. It's I have to love myself, which is loving all of it. It's loving the experience of life too, the ups, the downs, there is still going to be times where you think you've lost something. When you think you've lost something, that is also separation. That is also a belief that life ends. Life does not end. Physical bodies, maybe they end, but they don't really end, because then they become part of the earth and part of the compost and part of the molecules that create new growth, and then they become something else, right? But it's still this symbiotic synchronicity energy that you are all in a collective of ups and downs and all arounds, and there is no end. When you think there's an end, then you go to separation again.
So the real big key is to stay out of the egoic mind in our choices by making our choices include everyone and everything as oneness more than
Yes.
anything. Well,
Yes, and if you were to look at, like, let's say you were to look at the tree and say the tree is me,
Mhm.
then how would you be different with the tree?
Hmm.
If your neighbor, even though he's your ex, is not somebody you want to be around, if you saw him as you, how would you be different?
Hmm.
He wouldn't be a pain in your side. He would be a reflection of you. Something about yourself he is showing you that you don't still love about yourself.
Right.
Now, let's be clear, we're not saying that you need to put up with abuse or,
Right.
stuff like that, but there is, even people who are abused, they are abused because, and we know we will get some flack for this, that they are abused because they believe they deserve to be abused. They are still the creators of what is going on, right? So they are still this separation that, again, if we came to unification and saw everyone and everything as ourselves, might we be different? Might we treat things differently? We laugh about this, but Venus used to trail run more than she does now, but she used to trail run, and she was so worried about stepping on ants and bugs and things. She would ask that they all clear the trail because she didn't want to, like, squash bugs, but she was worried that she was causing an end instead of realizing that if they chose to transition, their energy went on to be something else. It didn't go away, so it was still part of her and this ongoing energy of life that is never ending.
Wow.
And you never end.
So a lot of the programming, say example, what was reflected to us as a child and how we interact throughout our life, and figuring out where the glitches are that stop us from creating the dynamic being that we be. Does the programming, is it connected to the ego? More so if it's not in oneness and we're functioning from not oneness. I've had to look at what have I not acknowledged in my past programming that keeps me still functioning from that programming place. So I know it's a lot of looking at things like that to let go of. What's a, I don't know how to formulate this question, but I think you get the gist of what I mean.
Yes, yes, yes. So you have also had many lifetimes of separation.
Yeah.
This unification and oneness is not a new conversation, but is kind of a new conversation for those of you here on the planet at this time, because there have been many lifetimes where you have created separation, where you have believed that you are separate, where you even believed that you are separate from God, that you are separate from the divine, the infinite energy that is always there. So there is no separation, never has been any separation except for that which you have created. And did you bring in other lifetimes into this lifetime to create more separation? Absolutely. So there is an unraveling happening, an undoing, which is part of the grand ascending and spiritual awakening going on right now, where we can no longer, you can no longer, as a race, live in duality, live in this separation. One, because something inside of you actually knows that it is not real, that it is not true, that it is not who you really are. And the other is you are all ascending into a fifth and seventh dimension. And as you all ascend into this new vibration, this new frequency, the duality must go, because it does not vibrate in these altered dimensions, in these other dimensions. We will not use the word higher, because you make that too significant and to cause more separation.
Exactly.
I am ascended. You are not. Same thing.
I get that.
If you believe you are ascended and you believe others are not ascended, then you are still in duality.
Yeah. It's basically, if we practice staying in the moment and being with what is quite a practice.
This is a great practice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because ego comes, what I understand is ego basically has to think about all the things and wish for and have to know the end result. And if we're present in the moment and come from like a oneness space, including everything with no separation, how do we make peace with our ego to let it sit in the back seat, so to speak, and let the being be in the driver's seat? What's a good way to make peace with that?
To not separate yourself from ego.
Oh, interesting. Wow, that's a interesting concept. Oh, ego's trying to make us do all these other things.
Ego essentially is just trying to keep you separate. So every time you're in a conversation of even trying to be separate from ego, you are still in the duality and this is better than that, and this is good and that is bad, and that is right and this is wrong, and those sorts of things. So if you were to just be in the moment, it'd be like, oh, there's a thought. Oh, okay, it's a thought. Oh, there's my ego. Okay, there's my ego. Oh, that person's angry. Okay, they're angry. Like there would be no resistance and reaction. This is one of the reasons why Venus enjoys the lowering the walls and barriers so much, is because it really lowers the resistance to everything and then allows us to just be aware of everything. And as you're aware of everything, then you can have these moments of unity, of the infinite. The infinite is another way we like to call God or source, because a lot of people have points of view and separation that comes up when you say the word God. But when you say the word infinite or the divine, there is a different energy that is available, because people have less resistance. So ultimately, it would be to lower the resistance to anyone and everything, and just be in the energy of now. The minute that you're in resistance, then that's the minute that you have gone to separation. So if you can have allowance is really the key for all of the things that go on. And that means if you're having a bad day, and just being in allowance of having a bad day, instead of trying to fix it and make yourself wrong for it, you could just be in, it's okay, I'm having a bad day. And we will say that in the allowance of having a bad day or being sad or whatever is coming up for you, that allowance, the things will change a lot quicker, because there is no resistance. It is the resistance that holds things in place. I think you have a saying, resistance. What is that saying?
Resistance is futile.
Futile. That's a different one, but yes. Whatever you resist persists. Yes. Yeah. So you tend to have it constantly when you keep resisting it, instead of just being, okay, I got angry at my neighbor today. Oh, well, I got angry at my neighbor today, right? There is no judgment. There is no wrong. There is no right. So you can just have that moment and then be like, okay, I had that moment, and what would I like to choose now? Having a new choice available to you because that was your first choice, but that first choice wasn't wrong. It's really like right and wrong is so much of the duality of this world, and it's why there are still wars being fought and religions being pushed on people, because there is just such a belief that there is a wrong and a right way to do life. But we will say there is not a right and a wrong way to do life. There is just living and learning, and you will learn from every choice you make, from every experience you have causes a learning. But at the core of it, you are actually here to love and to serve and to remember. And remember is the key. If you remember your oneness, then you will never have separation. As you said, if you love yourself, you can love others. If you serve others, you can serve yourself. It is all the same. If you were to love your neighbor as yourself, then this too, you would be loving you. If you serve your neighbors, you serve yourself, you serve the oneness. Many people are coming together right now because of the hurricanes, and they are taking care of each other and stepping in when others are not, because there is a desire to serve, a desire to contribute, a desire to help those in need. And that comes from love and from oneness.
Awesome. Wow. It's interesting living in this duality world, how many opportunities we have to practice that oneness.
Mm-hmm.
I just am so amazed in so many ways.
Yes.
Okay.
This is also why sometimes some of you cry at movies.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah. Because you experience a relatedness, you experience an understanding or a oneness with that, whatever is happening. You're like, I have had that feeling before, or I desire to have that feeling. Even movies are a window to your soul, to your oneness, to the infinite.
Awesome. Very cool. So when we're in the place of not loving ourselves, it's hard to have allowance for the oneness. So that's
allowance, yes. Allowance and judgment do not exist in the same place.
Exactly.
So yes. Yeah.
That's what living in the world of duality is showing us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. So basically following our intuitive knowingness instead of thought will present the oneness more effectively. Is that correct?
Sometimes, I mean,
like our intuitive sense.
Yes, I think we get what you're saying. The idea, though, is that there is no thought or understanding in oneness. There is there's no formula to oneness.
There's just
oneness just is.
Yeah.
So you are either one with everything or you are not. And neither one is right or wrong or good or bad.
Right.
But you experience oneness when you are in nature.
Yes.
Like you know when you're in nature, you're like, okay, I'm in one with the earth, and you hear the wind and the trees, and you see the beauty of the leaves, and like that is an experience of oneness that has no thought or awareness or understanding or formula. You are just one. And you have it sometimes for you personally, Amara. You have it sometimes when you are doing readings for people.
Yes.
Because when you do readings for people, you get into their world as you and deliver a message as you would yourself.
Yes.
So you are essentially talking to yourself, and you get paid for it as well. How good is that?
How much better can it get? Wow, that is cool. Yeah, in doing readings, it's getting to a point where there is no thought. The information just comes through. So to me, that feels like oneness more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just being present and letting it flow. Huh. That's cool. What other questions can we ask?
I think we are good today. We have a break coming up, so we can take a break and come back after the break.
Okay.
Times TV. Imagine becoming a super influencer. Reinvent yourself, invest in your brand, and then manifest your success with a robust spheric approach. Times Media and Broadcasting offers a unique and multifaceted way to become the spiritual and conscious influencer you deserve to be by putting your message across our powerful platform with its proven record of integrity and excellence. Through our produced shows, Times offers the opportunity to become a social media TV personality, a radio show host, an Times magazine columnist, and a syndicated podcaster, all in one shot. By live streaming your show on Times TV and broadcasting it across the extensive Times radio and TV networks, you become more than a host. You become an ambassador and a force for positive change. Times. Open yourself to the possibilities.
If I could be you, and you could be me for just 1 hour. If we could find a way to get inside each other's minds. Walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes. Well, before you abuse, criticize, and accuse, walk a mile in my shoes.
Welcome forward, everyone. Nice to have you here with me once again. Thank you, Amara, for joining us on that first half. That was a spontaneous channeling session with something that has happened with me recently, is to spontaneously start channeling a group called The Collective. And I think we'll be seeing more of them. So stay tuned for those wonderful experiences and invitations. But thank you. Thank you for those of you who are watching and listening now and in the future. And I hope that you got something from that. I definitely have been just experiencing more of what it's like to not create separation. And I am not 100% there, that's for sure. I still have my moments when my feelings get hurt or whatever. But just I think that that's a great invitation for us. And one of the places that I experience it the most is, as well, is experiencing that oneness and that connection to all that is in nature. It's such a gift for me and has taught me so much about myself, about the world, about oneness and unity. And so I guess I just invite you to find that place for yourself that perhaps you can experiencing more of, where we are all one. There is no you and me. There is just we. So thank you for that. I think now what we'll do is go ahead and dive into a guided meditation for this second part of our show today. And I hope you enjoy it. Find a comfortable seat. Breathe in, exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out. Allow yourself to just become present in the moment, allowing the music to just relax you. Breathe in, exhale out. Breathe in, exhale out. And imagine that you are sitting in the most comfortable, plush, soft chair. Maybe a chair that feels much like a cloud would, or a very big, soft, fluffy pillow. And allow yourself to just sink into that fluffiness. Feel the softness all around, the softness of your skin against the softness of the chair. And it is reclined at just the right height for you, but allowing you to sink back and relax. Feel yourself held, embraced, at one with the chair. When you are so comfortable with something, there is this no separation, like one of those really soft, fluffy blankets that you come across. Breathe in, exhale out. And in this chair, you notice how light you feel. Almost as if the chair was floating in the sky or floating on water. Breathe in, exhale out. And as you're floating, just floating like a feather floating in the air, allowing yourself to just gently be blown by the wind. It's not an aggressive wind, it is just a soft breeze that gently moves you from place to place. And allowing yourself to go to a place where you bought a lie of separation. Where your ego began to tell you a story that you were somehow different and needed to be separate from everyone else, that you could and would do better if you separated. And if your body is crying or yawning or doing any of its body things, that's okay. There's nothing wrong. Just allow that to happen. There's energy changing and energy clearing. And as you tap into that moment of separation, of letting the ego take control, again, I would like to remind you that the ego is not wrong or bad. Just allow yourself to be with yourself. And where you saw yourself fracture and separate from the others, I want you to imagine yourself sewing the fracture back together. You can do this with an imaginary needle and thread. You can also do it with a band-aid. Or you could do it with some energy. Just allow yourself to heal the fracture, heal the separation, the crack in the structure. There are many cracks that you have all created. These cracks are not chasms. They are not some very big, very deep hole in the ground. They are just small cracks. And you can mend them with very easy energy. So just allow yourself to mend the crack, maybe mend multiple cracks, allowing yourself to see things as whole and complete and whole and perfect again, without the separation. Breathe in, exhale out. And perhaps there is another moment in time where you feel like you fractured and separated. Allow yourself to go to that time and mend that crack as well. Maybe glue it back together. Or maybe just remember that it was actually never really there in the first place. The interesting thing about these cracks and separation is they are an illusion, because you cannot actually separate from yourself. You just keep convincing yourself that you can. So maybe you could just see all the fractures and the cracks as being whole again, remembering the wholeness, remembering the oneness. Breathe in, exhale out. And as you begin to remember your true self, your whole self, let's remember a time or a space or a place where you were experiencing that oneness with great ease, remembering the oneness, remembering the unity of all things. No one and nothing is separate from you. No one and nothing. But there are sometimes places and spaces and people, experiences that the remembering of the oneness, the remembering of the unity, the remembering of the true self comes with great ease. So allow yourself to take that in. Maybe it's a place in nature that you love so much. Maybe it's a specific person that allows you to feel no separation, no judgment, just allowance and ease and joy. Anytime you are in a state of ease, you are in a state of oneness. Breathe in, exhale out. Allow yourself to remember. Remember that you are not separate from your neighbor. You are not separate from your computer. You are not separate from the trees and the plants and the earth. Breathe in, exhale out. Feel yourself merge with the music. You and the music are also one. And exhale out. Feel the molecules of your body melt. Be fluid. Breathe in. Exhale out. Perceive the oneness and the unity with your body, and how the body is truly fluid with everything and everyone around it. Have you ever walked through a field and heard the bees buzzing and doing their thing? You could hear them. Maybe you could see them, but you never got stung by them because you were in a state of oneness. The energy of your body, the molecules of your body, merged with the flowers and the bees and the trees, knowing where to step, when and how to step. Moving around things as if by magic, avoiding things when it was not going to contribute to the moment. And then those times that maybe you remember you did get stung by a bee, was that too getting you into the unity and the oneness and the now, allowing yourself to be more present when you are stung by a bee? Are you not present? When you are petting your dog or your cat, are you not present? Breathe in, exhale out. Oftentimes, when you are in this unification, there are no words. Your words cannot quite describe what you are feeling, what you are perceiving, how connected you feel to everything. Most of you have had a moment or a time when time seemed to stand still, where there was no separation between you and the bees, or you and the music, or you and the movement of your body, the yoga. Space between. Breathe in, exhale out. And slowly begin to become aware once again of the body You rubbing the hands on the thighs or the hands together. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Slowly opening your eyes. Thank you, everyone, for being here on this adventure with me today. I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great day.